from News Watch 12, this is College Football Game Night.
Another weekend of college football has come and gone. Happy Saturday. Thanks for joining us for College Football Game Night. I'm Peyton Manning.
And I'm Madison Marie. Week 2 in the books. SOU football is back. What a day at Raiders Stadium.
Finally back. Nothing better than a Saturday at Raiders Stadium. Woke up feeling like it was Christmas because Raider football is officially back. The Raiders welcomed in Lincoln this afternoon at Raiders Stadium. Maddie was out at the game. Tell us about it.
Oh my gosh, it was a hot one at Raiders Stadium, but we got to watch the boys run out and just roll right past Lincoln. It was a great way to start the season off. 2024 tour. Let's get it.
It's begun.
Let's go. Game day in the A. Raiders Stadium packed. First game of the season. Southern Oregon hosting Lincoln for week 1 play. Captains, take your spot. All right, starting things off in the first, just minutes into the game. We've said it before, we'll say it again. He's back. Gunnar Yates with a quick jog gets the Raiders on the board first.
Middle of the first quarter now, field goal unit sets it up from 38 out. Brian Battress right down the middle, and the Raiders extend 10-0. Second quarter, the sophomore running back Yates takes the snap, hits the edge, and bulldozes his way through the defense. He's going to have himself a day. 16-0 Raiders.
Lincoln still with nothing on the board, thinking they have time. Here comes that Raiders defense. Adonis Jackson with the sack. He says, calm down. It's light work. Light work. Under 2 before the half. SOU isn't slowing down anytime soon. Handoff to Isaiah Hidalgo, driving into the crib. Touchdown Raiders, 23-0.
Lincoln again on offense, still looking for some points, but it's picked. Jordan Fifi with the hops, and he's got open field. Goodbye. Raiders wrap up the first half 30-0.
What a touchdown.
Light work. Second half now, Raiders hoping to keep Lincoln scoreless. Blake Asciutto. He has some time. He looks deep. He finds Raiden Kaneshiro in the end zone. SOU digging a hole for the Oaks, 37-0.
Bit of a weird play here. Lincoln goes for a punt. The snap flies over the punter's head, so it's rolling. Lincoln kicks at the end zone, a safety for the Raiders. But let's add one more for good measure. Hidalgo, no room up the middle, hits the edge. He's gone. Second touchdown of the day for the senior. Raiders run away with a victory in week 1.
Final 46-7 SOU. Isaiah Hidalgo postgame about the expectations of his team today and what's next for the Raiders.
Just staying relaxed, and Coach Brown's been talking about stillness, and that was it. Just going here and just have a clear mind, just breathe and just play by play. It was just a blessing. The O-line, they definitely did their thing up front, so, and you know, they got all the push, and I was just able to make a way. So practice the scheme, just keep scheming up and just prepare for the next week, and that's all. Just go out there with a mindset of we're going to go out there and just get on it fast and finish strong.
Towers to the sky, there's a college we remember, they never die. Southern Oregon, alma mater, highest place to be. May the Raiders there be loyal to thy memory.
We win, we sing.
I love it. We're going to know that song by the end of the season, that's for sure. The Game 1 win marks the Raiders' 400th win in team history and the first season opening win since 2018, starting the year off in the win column and doing it with flying colors.
The Raiders ended the game with 311 total offensive yards compared to the Oaks' 132.
Through the air, the Raiders only put up 36 more yards than Lincoln, but their dominance showed on the ground, finishing with 195 yards, holding the Oaks to only 52.
Blake Asciutto ending his day going 10 of 18 for 116 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Isaiah Hidalgo and Gunnar Yates putting the team on their backs, ending scoring, each with scoring 2 touchdowns, combining for 158 yards rushing.
Ted Wickman led the receivers with 4 receptions for 50 yards.
And coming up on College Game Night, Raiders head coach Berk Brown joins us live in studio.
Coach's reaction to week 1 at Raiders Stadium, and we'll see who's on deck for SOU in week 2. That's coming up. You're watching College Football Game Night.
Live from News Watch 12. Welcome back to College Football Game Night.
Welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. SOU highlights done, but one person we didn't hear from post-game was head coach Berk Brown.
And that's so not like us after a game day, but surprise, because Coach Brown is joining us live in studio. What a night. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
How are we feeling?
Awesome. It's awesome to start 1-0, and one of our first goals going into the season was win the home opener, and we got that done today, so we can put a check mark on that goal and move forward here.
And we've talked about a lot through spring ball and into fall camp, winning the day, winning the week, and you guys did that.
Absolutely, and it started, with a great training camp, not having to deal with the smoke. Yes. This training camp was awesome, and getting a full training camp in, and a great week of preparation for our guys, and it culminated with the big win today.
Yeah, execution on the field. Well, let's dive right into that game. Let's start off with first half highlights. Talk to us a little bit about your first half kind of thoughts running through that game.
I think it started on the ensuing drive for the defense, with a quick turnover on the second play from series, and then our offense capitalized, with Gunner finishing off the touchdown. We had 2 turnovers in the half, 5-5 late in the half with a pick 6, and then, Gunner doing Gunner things and taking the load on his back and running for a couple touchdowns in that first half. Isaiah Hidalgo was awesome all the game long, rushed for his career high as an SOU Raider today, which was great to see, and got into the zone a couple times also. Our pass rush is continuing to be elite. We've got some real guys up front, and I think that's one of our deepest positions. And the defense was stout all day. I mean, up until, the last drive that Lincoln had, when our younger guys got their opportunity to go in, is really the only chunk play that you saw today. So the first half went just as we expected. We knew we had to jump on them quick, and if we did, they were going to have a long day here in Ashland.
Yeah, and in that first quarter specifically, ending it with a 10-0 score, was there any part of you that was kind of like, guys, we got to pick it up a little bit? What was that conversation like?
Yeah, no, I don't think, I think the first game jitters are there, and those are a real thing, and every college football team faces it, and Lincoln had the advantage of having a couple games under their belt. So when we walked into this game, we knew we were going to be a little bit jittery, probably a little bit too excited, and as soon as we kind of settled in and figured out, this is just another Saturday, I thought we operated just like we should have.
Yeah, Gunner gets you guys on the board first today, and you have said it all preseason that Gunner is not a secret weapon, but he is a weapon that you guys have back this year.
Sure.
Kind of talk us through what his mentality was heading into week 1.
Yeah, I mean, we're very fortunate to have a running back like Gunner Yates, and we know that when he has the ball, there's very little likelihood that the ball's going to end up in our backfield, right? He's going to take yards after contact. His yak yards are always through the roof. He's a hard dude to bring down, and to his thunder, Isaiah's lightning. He's our quick guy who managed really well in space today, found his holes, and that's a credit to our offensive line too. We've got 3 seniors starting and 2 juniors, who really worked hard today. I'm only halfway through the game watching the film right now, but I can tell that our offensive line continues to work well together, and they had a fantastic day today too.
And what did you like to see from Coach Curry today? Obviously, he's up in the booth. He doesn't get to be by you on the sideline, but obviously a great offensive performance from your very proud of Coach Curry. I mean, it's a nerve-wracking experience when you're heading into your first game calling it, and Ty's only 25 years old, and so to get this experience, and he had a couple mistakes today that he knows he needs to fix in just simple situations that him and I discussed over the headsets, but he called a great game. He knew what was working. He didn't go away from it, and so he's not a dummy. He knows who to get the ball to, and when Isaiah and Gunner were hot like they were today, just keep handing the ball off.
Let's dive into second half thoughts for you. So obviously coming out of halftime, Lincoln had nothing on the board. You guys were kind of rolling. Talk us through what that halftime speech was like in the locker room, and then kind of what you thought you saw out of your team in the second half.
The message all week was we have to play our game, right? We have to control the clock. We have to maximize offensive possessions. We did a great job of that in the first half. So going into halftime, the talk was, hey man, we don't change a thing at this point. We're up 30-0. Like we got to play 60 minutes here, and I think we did coming out into the third quarter. Things started a little slow. We had a punt, quick defensive stop, and then a score. I think was huge. And then we had an opportunity to kind of roll in some of our younger guys, some of our 2s and 3s, to give them quality time in a game that they need to have.
Yeah. Go ahead. And then after the game, you kind of said the ending wasn't really the standard and
Right.
what you guys like to see. What do you need out of your team next week, especially when you bring in those 2s and 3s that you would like to see?
Sure, yeah, the standard is the standard. We have a saying around the facility. It doesn't matter if the 1s are in there or if it's the 2s, the 3s, the freshmen. It doesn't matter. Like, we hold ourselves to a specific standard, and we have to play to that standard regardless if you've taken reps all week or not. Like, we were running our base stuff, and I just felt like to finish that game and, to have a couple of the key mistakes that we did, snapping the ball a little bit early on a critical 4th down that would have finished the game with the offense on the field was frustrating, and just some blown coverages that I thought we could have fixed. I'm never going to be happy regardless of who's on the field if we're making those kind of mistakes. I think another thing we need to fix is penalties. Penalties were a problem today. Penalties were a problem last season, and when they happen in critical situations against better teams that we'll face down the road, it might be a different outcome. So we're going to definitely go back. We're going to watch the film as a team. We'll watch those penalties as a team. We'll get them corrected and be ready for Simpson next week.
Absolutely. And Coach, coming out of the Raiders' first winning season in a very long time, it's a huge accomplishment for you.
Sure.
But now you're starting the season in the win column, the 400th win in team history. How does it make you feel as a coach? Does that give you the confidence to just keep pushing forward?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm tremendously proud that I've been a part of a lot of those wins as a player, as an assistant coach, and now as a head coach. And I think it gives us momentum going into what's going to be, quite the schedule. We've got Simpson, who's a new program, down and ready next week. But then, we hit a 4-game stretch where we're facing the conference's best. We're got College of Idaho at home. We've got Montana Western at home. Montana Tech, who just beat Carroll College. That's a heck of a 3-game stretch. So we've got to take it 1 week at a time, and we understand that, and we understand Simpson's going to be hungry to get in the win column. So yeah, we have a lot of confidence right now as a football program. We've got to fix those little things that I talked about a little bit earlier, and I think if we fix those things, we'll give some people some fits.
Absolutely.
We'll dive into some cool game changers there, but first off, I want to talk a little bit more about how you're looking to fix those penalties heading into week 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's holding the guys accountable to it, and we don't have any punishment over it. Like, we're not going to make them run gassers, because there's penalties, and there's 2 different types of penalties. There's ignorant penalties, those are the penalties post snap or pre snap that happen, and sometimes there's just effort penalties, and some of our penalties today were effort penalties. I mean, we had a block in the back on a punt return. After I watched the film, like, I think his head was in front, and sometimes you don't get the calls that you want. We've got to learn how to maybe apply that block a little bit better. And we had a penalty today because one of our players was playing without his helmet on. His helmet flew off, and he was just continuing to play because he wanted to play. And
I love that.
Yeah, and that is an effort penalty. He wanted to continue to play for his teammates. Those things I'm going to be okay with. Yeah. It's those 15-yarders. The personal foul that we had at the end of the game with the targeting ejection. Those things, if we're going to be a championship level football program, we can't have those. So those are the things that we need to fix and address to the whole team so they know what the standard is.
I agree with you.
Standard was set today, though, and we're going to keep moving forward from here.
Absolutely.
So now, Coach, let's get into those game changers. Obviously, Gunnar Yates, we've talked about a lot. He has been referred to as the NAIA cheat code. He is a Raider. So obviously, Gunnar Yates, a huge factor in this win today. Isaiah Hidalgo, a huge factor. But then we have those huge defensive plays. So walk us through those game changes and kind of how you're feeling as a coach.
So I think the first thing, when you have a guy like Gunnar, is that we got to find ways to get him the ball. And that first touchdown that he scores, we're actually in a wildcat formation, which is new to us this year. So we bring a couple of defensive guys in and really incorporate our we culture and have O'Shea Miller lead blocking for the touchdown, which is huge. Here later in the half, AJ's continuing to do AJ things. He's picking up off from where he left last year, with the big sack today. Isaiah was huge in between the tackles. It's something we have focused on with him since the off season. He was unbelievable. To have a PR day for him on yards and touchdowns was huge. Obviously, to end the half here, 5 pick 6. So awesome. And I love it, man. We have a drill where, hey, we have specific guys we got to block to make sure once it becomes an interception, it becomes 6. And if you watch that defensive linemen are blocking the quarterback, we're blocking the intended receiver, and the excitement on the sideline was amazing. We dialed this one up, a lot of man coverage inside the red zone for Raiden. That's just a quick wheel route and a good ball by Blake to Raiden. Obviously, we got to take advantage of special teams when mistakes are made, and we do after the kickoff return. We convert a long drive where we ran the ball 6, I think, out of 7 times in that drive. And Isaiah capitalizes with his second touchdown of the day. So a lot of big plays. And yeah, here's Gunner, in that wildcat formation.
Just doing Gunner things.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's so fast.
Doing Gunner things.
He is tricky fast from being from Coquille, Oregon.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
No, he is.
There's
Coach,
no
what
doubt.
was your favorite play that you saw out of what we just watched right there? What was kind of your favorite game changer today?
Yeah, I think it's the opening drive for a touchdown. I mean, anytime you can start a game with a turnover, or we would call it a takeaway, and convert that into 7 points, right? The game's moving from there, and we've built momentum, and we kept the momentum all game long. So
You
that
did.
was huge.
I got to be there for the first half, and I was sweating.
It was hot.
Horribly.
It was a little
But
hot.
after that pick 6, I was smiling ear to ear. I was so excited. It's just it's great to see the things that we watch you guys do in practice come to fruition.
Yeah.
Execution.
It's the 3 E's.
Yeah, yep.
That's
And
awesome to see.
Yeah, I think if you notice our sideline, we're as excited as any sideline in America. We make sure our guys are cheering each other on. The effort was definitely there today. I mean, and it was probably 105 off the turf today. It was the hottest day, and we didn't really get to prepare for that type of heat because we didn't have smoke, but we didn't have any heat to prepare ourselves.
Right.
So you take the good with the bad, I guess. And then we've got to fix some execution things, but overall, our guys were humming today. It was awesome to see.
Right. Well, you're 1-0 now. You're heading into week 2. You're down in California facing Simpson. Talk to us a little bit about your opponent next week.
Yeah, Simpson's a little bit of an unknown. We have just gotten film of them, so we aren't quite sure what we're quite getting into yet. A similar opponent, they played College of Idaho a week ago and took a big loss. And then they played Pacific Lutheran today, so we'll get that film. And as a coaching staff, we'll dive deep into it after we put this one to bed and see what we're in for. I know that they've been recruiting. They have over 100 players in their program already, which is huge for a first-year program. And it's also nice to have a road trip that's not in Montana or Arizona or Idaho. So we'll take the short trip to Reading, and I'm sure they'll present some problems, and I know they're well coached. It'll be a great game.
And Coach, I always ask Coach during practices, and what did you see from Raider Nation today?
Yeah, it was amazing because we're not even in school, so the student body isn't even on campus today, and we had the stands packed when that thing started off, which was amazing to see. And as things got carried away, the fans kind of went away because it was hot, and I get it. But we need to continue to have our community support our football program, and it's Northern California, it's the Klamath Basin, it's Southern Oregon, it's all of Oregon, really. I mean, we recruit. It's Washington.
Yes.
Like we need people to come pack the stands, and I think what people sometimes forget is there's a lot of talk about the Beavs and Ducks, and rightfully so, both doing great things. But I think when you come down to Ashland and you get to watch a football game in Raider Stadium, it's a pretty neat experience in itself. And the more people are in the stands, the more excited our players are. The more excited our players are, the better they play. So, I just urge people to come to a game on a Saturday afternoon in Ashland because it's a special occasion.
Yeah, that stadium pulse was rocking today, that's for
Stadium
sure.
Pulse was rocking. Well, next week, like we said, we'll be on the road. Kickoff at 7 p.m. Of course, highlights here on Newswatch 12 Sports. We'll have a little bit of an update in Game Night as well. But for now, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah,
in
thank you
studio,
for having me,
Coach.
guys.
a
Yeah,
pleasure.
go Raiders.
And Scoters.
Live from Newswatch 12. Welcome back to College Football Game Night.
Keeping things going, another Oregon school all too familiar with football at dark.
The Oregon State Beavers are on the road for week 2 at San Diego State.
Coming off a solid win last week against Idaho State, the Beavers are looking to continue pushing forward. Another night game, so kickoff was at 7:30.
Coach Bray spoke ahead of their game about what worked for the Beavers in Game 1 and how he and his staff plan to move forward with coaching this season.
Don't get nervous. I think it's just when you prepare as much as I do, I feel confident in what we're doing and confident. And so really it was more just anxious and excited to get started. Let's go. So it was good. And it was good. The situations that came up, kind of running through that in the first game was good. My communication with, the analytics and Coach Heck during the game of how we want to communicate to Gundy and to Keith, it was good.
And that game is in progress, like we just mentioned. Kickoff just at about 7:30, so about an hour and 15 minutes ago. Oregon State up 7-0. 2:26 left in the second quarter. Giovanni McCoy taking the snaps again. He's 7 of 10 for 60 yards.
Jam Griffin with 9 carries for 50 yards and 1 touchdown. Oregon State currently in possession of the ball and right before the halftime looking to score once again. Let's dive right back into Oregon again. Boise State on top at half, 20-14.
Yeah, Dylan Gabriel, 9 of 10, 133 yards and a touchdown. He actually kept it for himself on the QB keeper. Very nice play. We saw from him.
Jordan James as well as 7 carries, 38 yards, and transfer Evan Stewart 4 receptions for 108 yards and 1 touchdown. We'll have those full highlights coming up tonight on Newswatch 12 at 11.
And that'll wrap it up for week 2 of the college football season. For the latest news, weather, and sports, head to our website, ktrv.com.
A special edition of Newswatch 12 is straight ahead. Stick with us.